I have had many conversations, as you have had, with a lot of young people over the last many months now. And you're right, they don't know very much at all about the history of the Middle East, or frankly about history in many areas of the world, including in our own country. Propaganda is not education. Propaganda, on whether it's TikTok or in the classroom, is actually the opposite of education. So many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? You know, because at some point, you know, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
What I intended to say if I had been elected in 2016. My fellow Americans, today you sent a message to the whole world.
I can't, I can't, come on, just be a normal person. First of all, don't read your victory speech that you shelled because you didn't win the election. Don't do that, it's a bad idea. But also just be why can't she just be a real person? I think it's from being in Washington for so long, she was programmed to not be a real person, and now she doesn't know how to be a real person.
Yeah.
No one does that, no one. It's just not real.
Yeah, every part of it's not real. The shot at her desk was even less real, oh, are you here?
You said you have to defeat them by defeating their leader. Their leader is Donald Trump. Even you have said that you expect him to be the Republican nominee. How does this change at all?
At this point, I think, sadly, he will still likely be the nominee, and we have to defeat him. And we have to defeat those who are the election deniers, as we did in 2020 and 2022. And we have to, just be smarter about how we are trying to empower the right people inside the Republican Party. So it is like a cult, and somebody has to break break that momentum, and that's why I believe Joe Biden will defeat him, and hopefully then that will be the end, and the fever will break, and then Republicans can try to get back to, fighting about issues among themselves and electing people who are at least, responsible and accountable.
So yeah, there's some folks that are feel displaced, their rightful places at the top. And now it's not at the top. Now they have to be equal to everyone, and that really bothers them. Is it conscious for most of them? No, I don't. Probably even for the deplorable half, it's not conscious for most of them. It's mostly they have this uneasy feeling about how America's not the same anymore, and it doesn't look the same, their neighborhood doesn't look the same, and they can't say the same things, etc. But the other half is the half that Hillary Clinton never addresses.
With respect to the Middle East, they don't know that under the bringing together of the Israelis and the Palestinians by my husband, the then Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, the then head of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, then the Palestinian Authority, Yasser Arafat. An offer was made to the Palestinians for a state on 96% of the existing territory occupied by the Palestinians, with 4% of Israel to be given to reach 100% of the amount of territory that was hoped for. And this offer was made, and if Yasser Arafat had accepted it, there would have been a Palestinian state now for about 24 years. It's one of the great tragedies of history that he was unable to say yes.
Yeah. She mentioned propaganda. She also mentioned, by the way, that the young people she just talked to were idiots. So if I'm the young person that just had a conversation with Hillary Clinton, I'm like, what? Okay, wait, are you referring to me? Okay, so anyways, no, she mentioned propaganda, and that's really relevant because who do you think might be doing propaganda? Let's think about the incentives. Either people who have been historically literally paid by Israeli interests like Hillary Clinton, who's taken tremendous amount of money from AIPAC, and all the politicians who've taken tremendous money from AIPAC, and have an incentive to deliver in return for that money wall-to-wall propaganda on behalf of Israel.